Good Thursday afternoon and welcome everybody to another edition of the Sports Visions radio show. I am Betty and Walter Jones, baby boy DJ Jones, alongside my good friend and traveling partner, Dale Williams. How are you, sir?
What's up, player?
Hey, man, I can't call it. What's the deal, Pickle?
Another big weekend.
On this side of the Panama City. Hello, everybody out there at CTVB land. I got to get it right, man. Got to get it right. Got to start right. We got got Big Chris Gates in the studio from CTV Beam, of course. You know, every so often, maybe once or twice a month, we come into the studio with the cameras and let you see how we do it behind the scenes live on the Sports Visions radio show. And, of course, we get a lot of calls, a lot of emails, a lot of information telling us, letting us know how much you enjoy watching us do our thing in the studio, deal. And we're proud to do it for them.
Hey, we're glad to do it, DJ, because really we always talk about having things and doing things behind the scene. We want everybody out there to see what we do behind the scenes.
Studio is on full up in here today because obviously we want to welcome in our intern from Columbus State University. He's our second intern, Quincy. Big Q's in the building.
That's right. He's a producer, DJ. You know, with a name like Quincy, man, you got to be a producer.
One day. But you know what? He's gonna help make us famous.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely. He's gonna figure out some of the things that we're not doing. You know, he's gonna critique us and he's gonna throw some production ideas at us. So hey, you looking out there now? You see us now. But when Chris get through with us, we're going to be different.
We're going to be a whole lot different, man. And like we always say, DJ, and I tell my family, sometimes you need a new set of eyes, DJ, to look at some of the things that you can't see.
So we got Quincy and Chris in the building.
That's right.
You know, we got a guy from the other side of Panama City, you know, Thrift coming in the building now. Thrift, we got the weekend. Obviously today, you know, our weekend comes a little bit sooner here this Thursday. And tonight on CTV Beam, we'll debut with, of course, this show. But, you know, what you got playing? You going back down to Panama City this weekend?
Yeah, going back down to Panama City to watch Georgia and Auburn play. No, I'm kidding, gentlemen. I got a lot of radio remotes, but I'm looking forward to a big weekend in sports. We got Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. We got Georgia Auburn on Saturday. We got the NBA Finals. Braves baseball is moving on to the next round. We have so much going on. Plus, I know we're not going to talk about it, but then there was a debacle on Tuesday night with the debate that happened. So there's a lot going on in the world right now.
Absolutely. First thing we got to do, we got to congratulate, manager Snicker up there with the Atlanta Braves. Dale, Braves were able to sweep the Reds and, of course, advance to the next level.
Next level, DJ won today, 5-0, man. Really, I think they're doing a great job. I was getting scared, DJ, because last year that's what happened to them. And, when the playoffs started, their bat stopped. And now really, they just crunk up a little bit. Marcell Ozuna, I think he still could be a great MVP candidate. And, Adam Duvall, they both hit 2-run homers in the bottom of the eighth. And you talking about insurance runs, DJ. And really, we were worried about the pitching, DJ. The pitching has been outstanding.
You can't forget about my guy, Freddie Freeman.
That's right. Freddie's doing this thing, man. And really, Freddie is he's another MVP candidate. So I think really for us the Braves are concerned, is glad to be able to move on to the next level in the next series. So it's going to be interesting. They just got to do a lot of things. They'll be playing their Cubs and Brewers winner, and they postponed that game today. So the Braves will be playing either the winner of that series right there, and hey, they can beat both of those teams right there.
Absolutely. We want to let you know we got some great guests on today. Coming up in just a little bit, WRBL's Rex Castile will be on, of course, to give us the lineup for Friday night to, of course, the high school games, both on Alabama and in Georgia. So we got some action-packed games lined up. We got a big game tonight out at Connect Stadium. The George Washington Carver Tigers, Dale, they're undefeated 2-0. They're averaging almost 60 points a game in their first two outings. They're going up against a team that they've been beaten up on for the last 13 years. But this year, Shaw says that this is the last time.
I mean, really, man, I think really Carver does need some competition, man. Somebody's got to, rise up in that region. I think really for us, the Troup County game is going to be big, and I think really the LaGrange game is going to be big. The Hardaway game is going to be real big. But I think really Carver's basically just flexing their muscles right now, developing some younger players, and by the end of the November and playoff time, I think they're really going to be tough then.
Big ups to Coach Corey Joyner and his staff over at Carver. I mean, it's not their fault that they they have this immaculate talent and they've just been power driving everybody. But tonight, Shaw says that, again, the word is that Shaw says they're going to give them a ball game. And they're going up against a team that they haven't met so far this year. And I know averaging almost 60 points or more, for the last couple of games, including the first game of the season that they played Spencer, and they stopped the game in the third quarter and they had hung 63 points. And, of course, at halftime, 55 points last week, man, against Kendrick. Boy, hopefully tonight there'll be a game there'll be some competition, because I'm concerned that Carver, obviously, I want them to get some good looks in the season so that when they do make it to the playoffs deal, they would have been in some desperate situations. They would have been, of course, in some competitive situations so that those kids would know how to react to failure.
I mean, really, that's how you develop a good team. And I think really Carver's schedule is in their favor, because I think really their harder games are going to be probably in October and November. And, when you, like I said earlier, Troop, LaGrange, those teams right there, and Hardaway, I think those are going to be their toughest game. But as you can develop some of your younger players, DJ, and get some depth with some of these young people, I think really Carver's going to get better and better, because when you go into the playoffs, DJ, you got to have some depth. And
coming up a little bit later in the show, we got another great guest. He's a friend of the show. He's been with us for a few years now. Jordan Hill from the Opelika Auburn News. He's a sports writer over there, Dale, and we're going to have an opportunity not only to talk to him about the big matchup, Central and Auburn coming over to play at Garrett Harrison Stadium on Friday night, and get some insights on Auburn High School. But, we got the South's oldest rivalry going on, Auburn and Georgia. Auburn's going to be traveling up to Georgia. Of course, Jordan will have an opportunity to take us behind the scenes and talk a little bit about those Auburn Tigers and what they'll be taking up to Sanford Stadium this Saturday.
I look forward to that interview right there, DJ, because now, Jordan gets he is the beat writer for the Auburn team, and really getting some of that behind-the-scene information from him is going to be real big.
Absolutely. And, of course, as always, Dale, we have an opportunity to talk about, the NBA playoffs. Thrift is going to give us an update in just a little while. And, of course, obviously, congratulations to the King. That's right, LeBron James, man. They drug the Miami Heat. I know it was inspirational, and I know it was motivational, and I know it was fun to talk about for a little while. What you got going on over there, son?
I definitely just drank this whatever drink from Panera Bread and went down the wrong way, and I'm struggling over here. I know everybody's thinking like, this man got COVID in the studio. Get him out of there.
With my damn mask. But yeah, Dale, just a lot of great things going on. But the King, obviously, he didn't let us down. But you all know, you got to know that the Los Angeles Lakers are too long and strong for Miami. It's inspirational, and I know it sounds good. I love Jimmy Butler. I like Pat Riley. I like Spoelstra. But you know what? The Lakers have got too much for them, Dale, and I know they might eke out one game, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get swept.
I don't want to see a sweep, man. I'm really, and that's why I'm pulling for Miami in the same situation. But really, if they play, if these guys, all these guys, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, if these guys are injured and they can't compete with the Lakers, because really, when the Lakers go big, and what I mean when I say go big, with Dwight Howard starting, Anthony Davis starting, LeBron James, I mean, really, and Caldwell Pope, DJ, he did a great job. But really, if the Lakers hitting threes like they hit threes last night, it's going to be a problem down there in the bubble.
Problem indeed. And I'm kidding. 11 straight threes, man. I mean, it was unreal. But, again, we're looking forward to a game. Again, they'll come back tomorrow, Friday, for Game 2, and I expect the same thing. I don't think that the Lakers will get out 32 points on them this time. But you know what? Like you mentioned, got some the Heat's kind of gimpy right now. Right. And I know that, Jimmy Butler, he's gimpy as well. So those are the two players that you mentioned in Jimmy Butler. That's the firepower. We got Rex on. All right, let's go over to the WRBL studios where our main man, Rex, is on hand to give us the Friday night football schedule. How you doing, my friend?
What's going on, guys? Always a pleasure to be with you. So this Friday night, gosh, we are week 7 of the prep zone of our coverage. I can't believe that we're here. So thankful for every Friday night. But our headline matchup today, on Friday, will be Auburn High School going to Central. Interesting thing, this series has gone Central's way for the last 8 games. 8-0 against the Tigers. They'll be at Garrett Harrison Stadium. Now, let's think back. Central 0-2 to start the season, right? How far away does that seem right now? They've ripped off 4 wins in a row. Coach Nick's system looking incredible with these players. Shout out to Zion Morris and Joseph Mckay, stud running backs back there. But Trey Miles and Caleb Nix sharing the snaps right now, looking incredible in that offense. That defense starting to step up a little bit as well. Here's the interesting thing, though. Auburn had an extra week to prepare for this game because last week's game was actually canceled due to COVID issues. So we'll see who comes out. Jack and I were talking in the office, and this Auburn High team looks different, y'all. They play with an intensity. Their offense looks incredible, and I think this is the best chance for Auburn to snap their losing streak against the Central Red Devils. This game always has, region championship implications. We can't wait for this game. On the Georgia side, we're talking Manchester at Chatco. Real interesting situation that developed here. Chatco was dealing with some COVID issues on on their campus. So the Georgia Department of Health recommended that this game, or they said that this game has the potential to be postponed. For everyone out there, this is kind of a little inside baseball. But both sides have to agree to postpone the game. Chaco said, no, the game has been scheduled. We're going to move forward. Meriwether County Superintendent earlier this week said the game is postponed. But now we've gotten updates. Chuck Williams will have a report later on WRBL News 3 that, yes, the game will be played. So it shows how weird this 2020 season will be. Let's stay down in Class 1A. Excuse me. Sly County versus Marion County. Both teams coming off a loss. This rivalry doesn't really need much introduction for everyone who's around it. It's going to be in Buena Vista. Great environment on Friday nights. And we'll see this team. Neither team can really afford to go 0-2 in region play. I'm really interested to see how Sly County will bounce back after playing a tough Taylor County team. And Marion County, also a little bit of a slow start, but they're adjusting to a new head coach under head coach law. But when you have these two teams that know each other so well, it can only be fireworks on Friday night, guys. A really exciting lineup for the prep zone. I can't wait to see what happens this Friday night.
I tell you what, man, when you talk about Central, I know that that game in particular, man, they're going to have extra security because you know as well as I do, Auburn, the whole town of Auburn is going to come down to Phoenix City here for tomorrow night.
Good luck trying to limit crowd capacity at that one. This one is always standing room only, but it doesn't matter, I think, to the kids if there are 10 people in the stands or 10,000. They love this rivalry, and I can't believe if you've lost your rival for a pretty consistent amount of time, you want to change things quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's going to be an interesting Friday night.
Absolutely. We jumped over tonight, but obviously we do have a good game that's going to be at Connect Stadium. George Washington Carver Tigers are going to go up against the Shaw Raiders.
My gosh, guys. I think Carver has basically broken the scoreboard in every single game they've played. They scored over 100 points in the first 2 weeks, and they've done most of their damage in the first half. Now, all credit is due to their opponents, but I think Shaw presents the biggest challenge on the schedule right now. DJ Riles for the Carver Tigers, incredible quarterback. He's developed. I was talking to head coach Corey Joyner. He's developed from a great wide receiver and a punt returner to a true quarterback. He used to be just a runner, but head coach Joyner was saying, look, his passing game, his deep ball has gotten so much better. They have weapons all over the place. Yes, Stretch Creedle and Kyra McCoy aren't there. They have dudes still. So I think DJ and Dale brought it up. You may not know the faces right now, but they have talent. On the other side, though, a tough loss for Shaw last week, up 22 points, and then Northside has that incredible comeback. So I know that these kids want to redeem themselves, and one of the best ways to do it, take down a powerhouse like Carver. A big test for guys like Lasan Davis, Amir Harper, all that talent that they have down there. And DK, this team, plenty of talent for the Raiders. We'll see if they can put it together. Got to finish the drill. Got to finish the mission. I think this is going to be a great Thursday night matchup. If it was on a Friday night, it had the potential to be a game of the week. But I'm really interested to see how Shaw can bounce back and Carver. If they stay this dominant, I don't think it's out of the ordinary to say, look, Carver with this team and this much momentum can make some serious noise in the playoffs and even try and compete for state.
Hey, Rex, give us an update on all the private schools, the Glenwood piece, Pacelli, and Brookstone.
So with Brookstone and Pacelli, they are off this week. Pacelli has told me that, there's still so much talent on there. Pierre Summers, my gosh. We don't know if anyone can stop this guy right now. One of the top rushers in the state of Georgia. I think a really, really interesting prospect to watch. And they have other players on there that are getting tons of offers. Glenwood, they're just doing Gator things, guys. They are running people out of the building. Big matchup against Monroe Academy on Friday. We'll have those highlights for you on the prep zone. This team is deeper than they were last year. Kai Robichaux, Jackson Griner running an incredible offense. Then you have a guy like AJ who, as a sophomore, I think we talked about him a couple of weeks ago, incredible athlete, does literally everything on the field, can force a fumble, and then he can catch a 70-yard touchdown for you. Brookstone, they're just finding the pieces again. Another solid team. I think with Coach Blair Harrison, he lost some big pieces last year, but again, give them more time to learn that system, be disciplined. One thing you know about a Cougars football team, they will be disciplined and they will work their tail off. I have no doubt that they can be a really great contender in the region. However, the way Pacelli's running right now, it's always been an uphill fight for that Brucelli jug. I don't think that's the case this year. So I know we're in this week. The most important game is the next game. I can't wait for that Vercelli Jug game between Brookstone and this much improved Vercelli team.
Rex, before we get out of here, there's a couple of superlatives that I want to talk about. Everybody knows about Mckay Williams over at Hardaway, the big defensive lineman who has everybody in the country and made offers. But we got, Joseph Papa Mckay, the running back over at Central. He's doing his thing. Of course, Jaden Creedle up at Carver, he has almost 400 yards and several touchdowns here in the first couple of games. And just a slew. Who are some of the guys that jump out? I know you mentioned Pierre Summers over at Pacelli, the running back over there, who is one of the state's top running backs. But who are some of the other names that jump out at you so far this season?
I would stick with all three of those names are really, really interesting. But Heath from Valley. Jack, remind me his first name again for Valley.
Josh Heath.
Josh Heath for Valley. Sorry, guys, we're just have our heads spinning around here. But Josh Heath for Valley. This team from Valley, they lost Buster Daniel and they lost some talent on there. But this young kid has been a workhorse for the Valley Rams, and now they have a great opportunity to be super, super tough for the Eufaula Tigers coming into town. And you want to talk about Eufaula. Hess Horn was one of the top passers in all of Alabama last season. He's right on top to be, again, one of the top quarterbacks in the state. Then you have Rodarius Ra Thomas, one of his best weapons out there, a big wideout, just got an offer from South Carolina. That's a combination for Eufaula that is dangerous and exciting to watch. And then you have Jackson Meeks. He was injured last week for Central. If he has an opportunity to play this week, he already has committed to Georgia, which I know Dale and DJ are already smiling
about. Go
Dogs! There they are. But Jackson is just another incredible wide receiver from Central. That's one thing that is starting to become a certainty. Depth, taxes, and good wide receivers at Central High School. And you're following in the footsteps of a guy like EJ and, of course, Justin Ross. What an incredible weapon this guy can be. He was a big factor and a big part of their offense. If he can get healthy again, we'd love to see him again on Friday night. I'd love to see him against this Auburn High team. But I am just so lucky as a sports reporter in this area to cover this much talent. Also, shout out to Chatco and Carlos Donovan, a credible guy last year for that Chatco defense, had 6 or 5 interceptions in one game. Now he's playing both ways, confirming he did get 6 interceptions last year in one game. But now he's playing both ways, and you give Pierre Coffey any talent, he's going to make it better. You give Pierre Coffey that kind of talent, it's going to take a program to a new level.
Rex, we appreciate the incredible job that you both you do on Thursdays, and of course Jack does for us on Mondays. Hey, let everybody know where they can find you.
I appreciate that, guys, so much. We're happy to be part of this broadcast as well. So our highlights, the Prep Zone, coming to you Friday night, 11:15 p.m. Eastern, here on News 3. That is our night watch. It's going to be an incredible lineup. We'll have as many highlights as we can. You can follow me on Twitter at Rex Castillo TV. Follow Jack at J Patterson TV. We'll have also our WRBL Sports at WRBL Sports on Twitter. We love to be engaged with everyone we can, have a lot of fun. Jack is kind of losing his mind over the Braves today, and he has both hands extended right now, going crazy. Loves the fact that Ozuna and Duvall went yard today. So it takes a little bit of the sting of what happened with his Falcons, but thank goodness. Sorry, I had to bring it up. And but we're excited again for this Friday night, guys.
All right, man. We appreciate you, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
We'll go ahead and take our first break. You are watching CTV Beam TV, and you are listening to WRCG 92.1. This is the Sports Visions Radio Show.
Bus is coming in 10 minutes. Come eat breakfast.
Hey, watch the homework.
Do you know if it's supposed to rain?
Where's my gray hat?
Where did you leave it?
It's your body.
What time does practice end today?
I like that headband. It really makes a statement.
Are you gonna wear this to work? Let's go. Bus is here.
Liberty Utilities natural gas. So reliable, you'll forget we're there.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
It started with a few smaller bills. $50 here,
$80,
$100?
I had good health insurance.
Why isn't this covered?
Well, then they started getting bigger. $800.
$1,800.
I saved for this.
But not that much.
I'm glad I had Aflac.
They gave me money when I needed it most.
That's why Aflac is here, to help with the expenses health insurance doesn't cover.
I love that Aflac duck.
Aflac! Get to know us at aflac.com.
For the best in local, regional, and national sports news, be sure to tune to the Sports Visions radio show every Monday and Thursday from 4 to 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Over the past 16 years, DJ Jones and Dale Williams have celebrated and uplifted our local high school coaches and student athletes. So get a behind-the-scenes look from your hometown sports guys. DJ Jones and Dale Williams on WRCG 92.1.
And welcome back to the Sports Visions radio show. Big ups to Rex Castillo over at WRBL. Dale, it's always great to get him on to get the preview for the upcoming weekend because there's some awesome high school football games going on in both Georgia and Alabama.
Great partnership, DJ, with WRBL in the prep zone, man, from Monday to Thursday, DJ updating and letting everybody know what's going on in high school football.
Well, the South's oldest rivalry is coming up this Saturday night in Athens, Dale. 7:30 kickoff in Athens. Auburn is going to travel up to Athens. I can't think of the name. What's the nickname of Athens? I know we got the Fountain City for Columbus.
The Classic City.
The Classic City. That's what I was thinking about.
Classic City.
Auburn's going to travel up to the Classic City, and a place that we spent a considerable amount of our early adult lives. And again, it's going to be a little different, Dale. You're not going to have 90,000 plus. You're not going to have tailgaters all over the city. It's going to be different. It's going to be different in a lot of ways. And one thing that's going to be different also as well is that our quarterback play is going to be a little different. We're not so sure how we're going to handle it, but at the same time, I know that Gus Malzahn and the Auburn Tigers are going up to try to come out of there with an SEC victory.
I think so, DJ. I think they kind of hid a lot of things last week against Kentucky, but I think Auburn's going to play fast. That's what they really want to do. Bo Nix is a better quarterback when he plays fast, DJ. They're going to try to get that ball to Anthony Schwartz. I mean, at least 10 targets, DJ. Seth Williams is another receiver. I think he's very underrated. They're going to try to get the ball deep and throw some things at Georgia's secondary. Georgia has an athletic secondary, DJ, but they had a lot of pass interference penalties last week. I think, matter of fact, they had 8 defensive penalties on defense, and really, they got to correct that real fast. I think it's going to be a great game, man, but I think Auburn didn't run the ball enough last week, but I think we're really looking at a younger offensive line for Auburn, and Gus going to play fast, man.
He's going to play fast because his quarterback obviously is a lot better, too. He's got a year under his belt. Bo Nix, obviously, I was very impressed with him last year as a freshman doing some of the things that he was able to do as a young kid. A year under his belt now, Dale, he's that much more mature. Going on the road is not a big deal for him in the SEC. And, of course, the talent around him that they have over there, the play calling, that the new play caller that Gus hired, his good friend, coming in now. I think that they're finding themselves. And then, one game is not going to mean a whole lot. And, again, even for Athens, for the sake of what happened in the debacle in the first half with up in Arkansas with Georgia, I look and I expect both teams to come out a little bit more polished, and obviously just because of, again, having the opportunity to go full speed and obviously to do the things that they want to do and have film to correct full speed, I think that'll make both teams that much better.
I think it's going to be a better game, DJ, for us the mistakes and for us just getting back into shape and getting in a system of doing things the way it needs to be done, because we talked about it last week. It's a lot of things you can't practice virtually, DJ. Some things it's got to be done and get experience from being in a game, the speed of the game. I think really Georgia at this point, I think Stetson Bennett will be the starting quarterback, but I think they're going to have a package for DeJuan Mathis. And as you say, DJ, they're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got too many eyes on the University of Georgia program and that black quarterback piece, DJ. I think they're going to play a lot. But on the defensive side of the ball, DJ, Georgia does have a great defense. And like I said, even with all those penalties on defense, they still play good. The corners are going to have to play a whole lot better, because as soon as the bus stops at Sanford Stadium, DJ, they're going to try to get the ball to Anthony Schwartz and Seth Williams.
As bad as I know the University of Georgia want and need this game, Auburn's coming in because, when you talk about the South oldest rivalry, Georgia, for the most part, when you balance it out over the last several years, Dale, Georgia has gotten the best of Auburn.
I mean, absolutely. And I think really, Auburn thinks that they're due. And if they had a little bit more time on the clock last year, they would have came back and beat Georgia. It's going to be a different game. Again, for us, and I've been saying this so long, and I'm going to stick to it. The crowd not being there, DJ, it affects the home teams, I think, a lot. But I think for us, Auburn going on the road, Auburn has beat Georgia in Athens before. Even when I played, I lost to Auburn in Athens. But at the same time, DJ, it's going to be a very competitive game. I think really both teams kind of held some things back because they didn't want to show too much from last week. But, when you're playing all conference games, DJ, you got to turn loose what you got and really try to develop a game plan the next week, one game at a time. But I think really offensively for Auburn, it's going to be, I think really they're going to play fast, sugar huddles and things of that nature. But really the biggest thing, and I think Auburn has always been underrated from, they have a good defense. And I think really, Rodney still got him some guys. You just don't know those names. Big Cat Brian didn't play last week, but I saw that they had some big, thick defensive linemen, DJ, and I think really Georgia's going to have to try to test these guys because Georgia is going to have to run the football to be successful in that spread offense.
Yes, indeed. And, of course, the significance of this game with the South being the South's oldest rivalry is that Columbus, Georgia has a part of that history. Of course, back in the 40s, they played, Auburn and Georgia played here at Memorial Stadium. So you youngsters out there who don't know that, that's a little trivia question for you, or a little trivia history for you, if you will. Of course, look, we got 3 or 4 over there.
Yeah, you're getting nervous. You're going to have a pop test. You're going to have a pop test.
But, yes, indeed. Obviously, Google that, guys. We'll have you have a little nugget in the back of your brain there with as the Auburn Georgia game relates to Columbus, Georgia. They believe it or not, they did play here.
1959.
Was it in the 40s? From the 40s on to 59.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So again, Dale, like I said, it's going to be interesting. I know that the folks that will travel, that will make that trip. 7:30 kickoff. That has a lot to do with a lot of those folks from down in South Georgia.
Yes, they do.
Driving up and getting a hotel room. So it'll be interesting to see just how many of that percentage that's allowed in actually shows up.
I think really they're going to still be nestled around 18,000. I think it was 17,000 over at Jordan Hare last week. It'll probably be around that. I'm going to say 20,000, DJ, unofficially. But I think really it's going to be an interesting game. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention these two young players that played last week. They're players of the week. For Auburn, you have Jalen Simpson. He's the freshman player of the week for the SEC, DJ. This kid had four tackles, 3 breakups, 1 tackle for loss. So when you're a freshman and you play corner on a caliber team like Auburn, that means you balling a little bit. Christian Tutt. Auburn has a good defense. But then on this Georgia side, the punter, Jake Camardo, this guy, he landed a punt, on the 11-yard line, the 9-yard line, the 7-yard line, and on the 1-yard line. When you punting like that, DJ, that can help a defense like Georgia has.
Punting is always, been a very important part of our special teams. But I tell you, it's time for somebody to step up because obviously we don't have what we had last year as far as a place kicker. And we got the new kid in town because, we got our All-American has gone on to the pro ranks. He plays on Sunday now, and I'm talking about Rodrigo Blankenship. But looking for an opportunity for a good kicker to step up. And obviously in a game like this, the matchup against Auburn, kicking the special teams is definitely going to be an important part.
It's going to be an important part. And hats off to Scott Cochran, DJ, because really from the punting team, the punt return team, the punt coverage team, the kickoff team, the punt, they were excellent on special teams last week.
Absolutely. Scott Cochran, that's a good name there. Right. You think the Alabama folks still remember him?
Oh, yeah, they do. They do. They're mad. They're still mad about that one, DJ.
Yes, indeed. Until, you know what? I want to do this, too. Also, I want to give an opportunity to thank or at least give a big shout-out to Bobby Humphreys' baby boy. His son, Marlon Humphreys, just signed a big deal with the Baltimore Ravens, which makes him the highest-paid cornerback in the league right now, 5 years, $98.75 million. Man, I tell you what, another feather in the cap of Nick Saban and another feather in the cap to Bobby Humphrey.
That hats off to Bobby Humphrey, man, and really hats off to the Baltimore Ravens taking care of their players. And I think really, man, coming out after a game against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, because Patrick Mahomes lit him up. But, I'm glad that he wasn't rated on the fact of how he played against Kansas City.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take another break. You are watching CTV Beam Television, and you are listening to WRCG 92.1. We are your hometown sports guys.
Greetings, this is Reverend Thomas H. Mills Jr., pastor of Spirit, Truth, and Liberty Ministries, Inc., located at 3574 Macon Road, Columbus, Georgia. I want to invite you to join us in our weekly worship services. On Sunday mornings, our worship service is held at 11 a.m. on Facebook at Spirit, Truth, and Liberty Ministries, Inc.STLMI. On Tuesday evenings, our Women's Bible Study is held at 7 p.m. led by Associate Minister Terry Myers via Zoom. On Thursdays, our General Bible Study is held at 7 p.m. also via Zoom. On Fridays, a word of encouragement is given at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook at Spirit, Truth, and Liberty Ministries, Inc.STLMI. We look forward to you joining us, and until then, may the blessings of God be with you.
Headquarter Nissan has the same used cars as our competitors for much less, and with a lifetime warranty.
Their 2018 Ford Fusion, $17,700. Ours, $16,900. That's over $750 less.
Plus a lifetime warranty.
Their 2017 Altima, $15,900. Ours, $15,400.
Plus a lifetime warranty. Compare and see for yourself. Don't pay more for less, pay less for more. A lot more. Headquarter Nissan.
For the best in local, regional, and national sports news, be sure to tune to the Sports Visions radio show every Monday and Thursday from 4 to 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Over the past 16 years, DJ Jones and Dale Williams have celebrated and uplifted our local high school coaches and student athletes. So get a behind-the-scenes look from your hometown sports guys. DJ Jones and Dale Williams on WRCG 92.1.
Welcome back to CTV Beam as well as WRCG 92.1. Dale, we were talking about the Auburn, Georgia matchup this weekend up in Athens, but we also have the Alabama, Texas A&M matchup to go at. I think last week, that Texas A&M basically they didn't come in with the ferocity or the strength that I thought they would have. And again, I know they have a lot to make up, and of course, Alabama being the powerhouse that they are, you know what? Texas A&M better get it up real quick.
And real quick, DJ, I think really whatever mistakes they made last week, I hope they improved on them because they're going to need every bit of it, DJ, because Alabama is stacked again this year, and the Mac Jones piece has been great. The Waddle piece with the Waddle and the Smith kid, those two receivers right there, and Najee Harris. Like I said, I'm already going to just anoint this guy as the Heisman Trophy winner now.
And they got a young defense that's flying all over the place there. You got a lot of young kids out there, man. And again, that's one thing that you can count on at Alabama is some young, tough defensive players. And again, that's, of course, a staple in Nick Saban's wallet there.
That's right. Again, they just reload DJ. We just don't know their names yet, but I think really the Pat Surtain, the third, it seems like he's been over there forever, man. Nick keeps some good DBs. He's going to have a good safety. He's going to have good corners. He's going to have nasty dudes on the defensive line, and he's going to have a linebacker that could go from sideline to sideline.
And I know that when Texas A&M coming in, and the first week of the season, basically, it was somewhat of a shock that we didn't see the offensive production from A&M. However, somehow, some way, they're going to have to find themselves with the Crimson Tide.
Well, they do, DJ, but, really, again, going back to that virtual piece and not having a spring practice, not having chemistry with your offense, we're not just clicking right now. We don't know what we do well right. Those first game jitterbugs, DJ, I think it's going to be interesting that they continue to get better and better. This is the second game this week. Maybe they correct some of those mistakes that they made or just try to tweak some things here and there. And then possibly Jimbo wasn't showing Alabama nothing from last week.
And, of course, next in the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to have Jordan Hill from the Opelika Auburn News, and we'll continue on with some SEC football talks. Right now, we are smack dead in the middle of the NBA playoffs. The Lakers, King James has definitely established himself and the team as being, it's a possibility of a sweep deal. I'm not going to say it will be, but obviously being jumping out 32 points, totally dominating. They're much longer, much stronger, much more physically imposing than the Heat. Yeah, it's a good story for the Heat, but I just don't think that this is what they signed up for.
I don't think they signed up for it either, DJ, but at the same time, man, they're playing like they played last night. It's going to be hard to beat the L.A. Lakers. If they're hitting threes and they go big against the Miami Heat, and hopefully that the Miami Heat have just been playing as hard as they possibly can to even get there. But the injury bug, they're going to have to dodge that injury bug, because if they can't play any better than they played last night, this thing's going to be over real fast.
All right, for more information, of course, on the NBA Finals, let's throw it over to Thrift.
Well, the main thing when you're facing against Anthony Davis is what? You want to have bodies, unless you have someone that actually can match up with him. They have none of that. Bam Adebayo is the only big body. They have Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk, who are literally guys that can go in just to foul him, at least rough him up, give him something. He didn't even play him, talking about Eric Spoelstra. If the Lakers score 15 threes a game and the Heat only have 11, this is going to end in 3. I don't think they should go 4. It should end in 3. It's been complete total domination. If this continues, 34-9-5 for Davis, LeBron 25-13-9. Who's going to win MVP in your opinion? If the domination continues, just like with Kobe, Shaq, do you give it to the big and Davis because he's kind of like Shaq, or do you give it to the all guy that makes all the plays for him in LeBron? Who would you give it to if this continues?
Well, to be honest with you, I think Davis was brought out there to be the man, and of course, LeBron has conceded that he doesn't have any problems with it at all, and I really don't think it makes a big difference to LeBron. And as far as he and his legacy, I think he wants the Davis kid to get all of the credit, to get all of the accolades with regards to the championship. But as long as they win the championship, that's all that matters to LeBron.
I think really I think it would be a great opportunity for the NBA to make both of them the co-MVPs. I think really they bring that much to the team. Anthony Davis definitely has been a catalyst to this whole thing. LeBron James really going there and always being consistent with what he's doing. I mean, his leadership ability. I mean, his influence in the NBA. I think it's a great opportunity for the NBA to give these guys co-MVPs.
Couple things. One, LeBron James is the Shaq of small forwards. I mean, he is so physically imposing to anybody that's guarding him. He just moves them out the way with his brute strength. Goran Dragic and Bam Adebayo doubtful for game 2. If they don't come back, I would say 80% healthy, not 50%, because I know both of them, they want to play, come back on 50%. They have no chance to even get a game in this series. I want to at least go 6 and be, somewhat competitive. But the way LeBron and Anthony Davis are on a mission right now, I think max 5 games. And King James is once the champ again.
I want to spend a few minutes talking about King James and what this pandemic meant to him in this layoff, because obviously, this is the healthiest he's been in the last couple of years. He and both Anthony Davis. And I want to take you to one of the dunks that he did so easily. I mean, we're really into the game. Several quarters into the game, he went up and flushed a dunk backwards, man. And then that shows you the life that's in his legs. Here he is, 17 seasons and 34, 35 years old, and still with that much life and that much liveliness in his legs.
36 years old in December, gentlemen. 36 years old, and he's still the best player in the game. Do you see him slowing down, either one of you? Is it going to be one of those things like Tom Brady where maybe after 40 he may be somewhat not as productive, but he's still an excellent player like Tom Brady is now with the Buccaneers? He's not this player he was 5 to 6 years ago, but he's still top 10, top 15 quarterbacks in the league, and that's all you need with all the talent they have.
And a lot has been made on how much he invested in his body.
Exactly.
Man. But at the same time, you know what? This guy has some great genes, because I know a lot of guys that invest in their bodies and they didn't, 17 years later, they don't still bounce around like they just can't been in the league a few years.
But, I think really, man, the pedigree, the intensity, the intangibles that this guy has, I think they're really underrated. I think for him being a champion, the way he plays, the way he demands respect from his teammates, those qualities right there, DJ, I think really energized him a whole lot, because he doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all.
And one more thing, I didn't think it was going to be physically possible he was going to be able to play with his son, because that's the big thing he keeps saying. He wants to be able to play with his son. His son has 3 years left in high school. We'll say the one and done rule. So he's got 4 years left. I can see him playing 4 or 5 more years to at least play 1 year in the league, 2 years in the league with the same time as his son, which would be awesome.
It sounds great, and I like to talk about it, but at the same time, he has to finish this year. Obviously, he has more work left to do. If he continues to play as he's played, we expect another championship, and then we'll worry about the next year. But more importantly, I think for LeBron James and what he means to the game, all of the naysayers, all of the haters, they can say whatever they want, but if you can't find something positive out of what this guy does, both on the court and off the court, something is wrong with you, because it's just too much goodness in this guy for you to even think about hating on him any kind of way.
I mean, really, you said a mouthful right there, DJ. Again, the quality, the style of this guy, the leadership ability of this guy, everything. I mean, you don't see a lot of people talking bad about him from that standpoint, but really his conduct while he's been in the NBA, coming straight out of high school, all the way to 17 years later. Really, and it's getting better and better for him. But I think really, for as this series is concerned, I think LeBron James will be the first person to tell his teammates that this thing ain't over. We still got a lot of work to do.
Let me ask you this, Thrift, with regards to, obviously, it's October the 1st today. And again, the NBA season will be over this October. So when is the scheduled season supposed to start for 2021?
Okay, so NBA draft's going to be in November. Then they're expecting Adam Silver in a perfect world would love Christmas Day because that's a big part of the NBA calendar, be the first game. He's saying it's going to be mid-January before season starts underway. So they'll be able to do transaction and stuff through November, December. Games probably won't start till after the new year.
And this is where I see, again, having the opportunity to recuperate. It's going to put a dent in some of the older players' armor, but at the same time, we know that, he's not cut like LeBron is not cut like everybody else. But, again, I think that you have to look at that transition course. Running this season this long and then starting back up as early as January, as you say, that's still that's not a normal off season.
That's not at all, DJ. But at the same time, just being refreshed. And, some people, it take a long time for them to get refreshed. But I think really the teams that have not been playing, they're going to be refreshed. And I think really, you give LeBron James a month off, 2 months off, and, hey, he's ready to go again. But I think really that's going to be a big issue. But I think really just for this the new development and the new arrangement of the NBA when the schedule will start again, I think it's going to be real quick, and they're going to take advantage of these important dates like Christmas, New Year's Eve, all that. I think really they're going to be able to do that.
One thing I want to piggyback, it is really upsetting me right now, all these old players that are coming out that are trying to take a dump on what LeBron James is about to accomplish. Scottie Pippen's come out and saying this is like glorified AAU. This is not really winning a championship. You got Paul Pierce saying the same thing. Like he's elevated himself to LeBron James' stature. I don't know what world he lived in his 20-year career, but he's never been LeBron. Stop doing it. It is impressive what LeBron's been able to do. Everybody had a 3-month layoff. Everybody came back healthy. And plus, being in the same spot for 3 months, never getting to see your family, that's taking a toll on a lot of the players. This is still impressive. This is still a championship. Don't take a dump on it.
Absolutely. And then that's just, again, the competitive nature of professional athletes, and I know at every level. I mean, that's what they do. But again, to beat up on and dump on one of the greatest players that ever played the game, I think that's a little low, Dale.
I agree with you, DJ. And then you cannot forget that even the NBA Finals is big, but they're down there for another reason also. You can't forget about that piece right there, and really to show when the NBA world can show how important that platform is and what these players actually really think about. The social situation that is going on in the world today, the injustice, the racism, all these things, and they want to use their platform, even in the midst of a pandemic, even in the midst of an NBA final. I think really that just really has been magnified to be knowing that it's more bigger things than basketball.
Also, I don't want this to get lost under the rug with consideration to the bubble. The Lakers, obviously, they have mature men that have families and kids, and of course they have lives. Of course, they want to go back to the house, but they've really had opportunity to concentrate and focus down here in the bubble. A lot of other younger teams had players that obviously don't have the same responsibilities, so it doesn't mean as much. But LeBron, I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but just to respect the fact that he can remain focused and keep his teammates focused, knowing that his family's back out in California. They didn't come down to the bubble. He didn't allow his family to come down there. Disney World was closed down. He didn't want his wife and he didn't want to subject his family to that. And, of course, being away for as many months as they have been, and, of course, as now, of course, going into the October, they've been away almost 3.5 months.
I mean, that's big right there. That's a long time to be away from home, and really when you got small kids, when you got growing kids, being away from, and really, I think that's probably was one of the biggest thing that LeBron James stands for. He wants to be known as a good father.
Yeah, and what you both said, can't get lost in the fact why they're doing this. And I think what happened this past Tuesday is one of the main reasons why the NBA players are standing up for exactly what happened. And anybody that's saying there ain't racism in the United States and they're turning a blind eye to it, this is why I respect LeBron James for what he's doing.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, we got a couple of minutes before we go to the next break. Let's talk about the Braves again. I know we talked about them a little while ago, but I know for the folks that are joining us right now, and again, you can never talk about the Braves enough. Dale, it's been since 2001 since the Braves were able to close out the first of a round of a divisional playoff, then go to the next level. Obviously, today sweeping the Reds, and we do know who their next opponent is. Again, I know we talked about it on Monday as far as them coming into somewhat of a bubble as they get further into the playoffs. So did we get clear on when they actually going to start playing in that remote site?
That has not been clear yet. When they find out, they would actually find out who they play. The Brewers and the Cubs, that game has been postponed, and they'll be playing the winner of that series. And I think the alternate sites and the bubble sites are going to be in Arlington, Texas, and San Diego, L.A., and I think the other one is Houston. Those are going to be the bubble sites and where the divisional playoffs will be played, and then you'll have the World Series will be in Arlington, Texas.
You may mention that a game was postponed because of inclement weather. I know that the Cubs and the Marlins were postponed. One of the factors of who the Braves were going to play, was it another team, or a couple of teams that were postponed as well?
No, it was just the Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. It was raining.
Cubs and Marlins. Cubs and Marlins. Brewers are playing the Dodgers. You're good.
That's right. And the Brewers are playing the Dodgers. The Dodgers have a 1-0 series lead of that, and really, if they win today, they'll be closed out. But basically, the Cubs and the Marlins, the Braves will play the winner of that series.
For the sake of the folks who didn't have the opportunity to hear the statistics or some of the numbers that you talked about earlier, Dale, the Braves, we got 3 MVP candidates that are playing, and of course, Freddie Freeman is the one that stands head and shoulders. But talk about some of those the other two.
Marcell Ozuna, I think really, he led the NL with 18 home runs. He's batting .338. He has like 79 RBIs. We're talking about 60 games season. He's been healthy. He's been a great acquisition for the Atlanta Braves. And then the other one, man, I mean, if he doesn't win the Cy Young Award or MVP Award, something is wrong. Max Fried. I mean, this kid has been lights out, 9-1 record, about 2.15 ERA. I think he has done a great job. And I think for us, when Mike Sirocco, he, tore his ACL, we were like, okay, man, the Braves don't have a pitcher. But this guy stepped in, DJ, and really that bullpen that we talked about so bad last year, this year, man, they got a real bullpen, DJ, because when you can pitch 13 scoreless innings and plus 9 more today, that's 22 scoreless innings, man. That's pretty good, and that's from a starter, And then we starting a rookie, what's Ian's last? Ian Anderson, and he's been the #1 prospect, DJ. And I always knew the system, like, bring one of your top prospects up, put him in, because like you said, it ain't too much change, DJ, from Little League to Babe Ruth to high school. When you have not seen a pitcher before, he's going to give you some problems.
All right, we're going to go ahead
and take another break. You are watching CTV Beam, and you are listening to WRCG 92.1. This is the Sports Visions Radio Show.
In Japan, they have something called Kobe beef. That's how we do it at Luke's Pub. 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 Y'all come out and see us.
Should planning your travel be more stressful than staying at home? Of course not. Here at Lumpkin Travel, our VIP service makes traveling easy and fun.
Girls Trip!
We've helped serve thousands of people and families experience their dream vacation by taking the hassle out of travel.
Thank you.
We book your flight, reserve your hotel, and make sure you have a stress-free vacation so you can enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you.
We even help you choose different activities that you're guaranteed to enjoy. And the best part is, we find you the best price at no extra charge for you. Actually, 95% of customers save money and time by booking with Lumpkin Travel. So start thinking about your dream vacation. Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, we'll make it happen for you. As easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today or log on and set up your vacation of a lifetime with Lumpkin Travel, your travel agent for life.
E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse has been your most trusted name in men's fashion for more than 50 years. We've offered the area's best selection of top quality, name brand suits, accessories, and casual wear at the most competitive prices around. Customer service is our top priority. We're the professionals generations have trusted for the best quality and absolutely the best deals. We are E&S Men's Clothing Warehouse. We are simply the best.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price. 3 locations to serve you.
Hey, my name is George, and I love the Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets. It's like me grilling at home. It tastes very similar to that, except the seasoning. I probably can't season it as well as Chick-fil-A does. The chicken's super tender, and honestly, the best nuggets I've ever tasted.
My name is Meredith, and a little thing I love about Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese is the oven-toasted, cheesy top layer. If home had a flavor, it would be Chick-fil-A's mac and cheese. I'm passionate about it.
Gear up for fall at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
And we are back on CTV Beam and WRCG. Of course, coming up in just a little bit, we'll have an opportunity to talk to Opelika Auburn's sports writer, Jordan Hill. Of course, we got the oldest rivalry, the South Soldiers rivalry deal coming up. But again, once again, we want to congratulate the Atlanta Braves. It's been 19 years since they've won a series of any sort deal with regards to moving on. They swept the Reds and looking forward to big things. Ian Anderson came out of the box for Game 2.
Yes, he did. He did a great job, and really the Braves did a great job breaking out of that hitting slump, man. Really, that Marcell Ozuna hitting that 2-run homer in the bottom of the 8th inning opened up the floodgates for Adam Duvall. And really, as far as the Braves are concerned, hopefully everybody get their hitting hats on, and the Braves can carry this thing a whole lot farther, DJ.
Good to see Ronald Acuna getting 3 hits, Dale, getting himself going again, because we're going to need him in a big way.
We're going to need him in a big way, DJ. And like I say, if the bats start swinging those bats again, DJ, the Braves going to be very, very hard to beat.
So we're looking forward to not only college football, Dale, but of course the Braves have advanced to the playoffs. We got of course, Monday night, we got the Atlanta Falcons going on Monday night against the Green Bay Packers. And again, a weekend of football on both college and professional football, but just everything, one big smorgasbord, just a buffet of sports. But without further ado, we told you we were going to have our main man from the Opelika Auburn News with us to talk a little bit about Auburn football and also high school football in Alabama. Welcome to the show, Jordan Hill. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great, DJ. I appreciate you guys having me back on. It's been too long, but I appreciate you guys letting me come back on and talk some sports.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. You know, we have to keep you hidden until we have we need a secret weapon. And obviously, let's just start with the South's oldest rivalry with the Georgia Bulldogs and the Auburn Tigers going at it up there. Again, I know that Bo Nix is mature, a year under his belt now. He's playing well. Couple of great receivers, and Anthony Schwartz and Seth Williams, but a couple of running backs. On the running back side of things, who's jumped out at you so far this early in the season, Jordan?
Yeah, the lead guy has been Sean Shivers. He's a junior. He's not a very big guy. He's about 5'8", but he's shifty, and he really made a name for himself in the Iron Bowl last year. He leveled, I think it was Xavier McKinney for Alabama, and sent his helmet flying. So he's got pretty good pop for being such a little guy, but he's kind of been the main guy. DJ Williams, he's a sophomore. He really came on once Jatavius Whitlow went out for a little bit last year. DJ was kind of the lead back while Booby was out. So he's been really good. And then another guy that people around the area will know is Tank Bigsby from Callaway. He was a really good running back in high school, and I got a chance to watch him against Opelika last year. And he got a few carries against Kentucky. It was kind of hard to tell, with that being his first game, his first college game. But he has a lot of promise. And, so, yeah, they're kind of going running back by committee, and they've got talented guys. It's just a matter of opening up the holes for them to run through.
Well, Jordan, I'm going to help you out a little bit. I'm going to give you the scouting report for Auburn this week. And I think really for as Bo Nix is concerned, I think Auburn wants to play fast. I think Chad Morris wants to play fast. I think Gus Malzahn want to play fast. And I think they want to target Anthony Schwartz a whole lot more. I think they were holding back on Kentucky last week because of this game this week against Georgia. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, you look at Schwartz, and he's got that speed. He's got that world-class track athlete speed. And, we didn't really see a ton of him against Kentucky. It was really more the Seth Williams show, and Eli Stove, who's a senior, had a touchdown against Kentucky. So it makes a lot of sense. And, you get the sense that Bo Nix, at least through one game, seems to have really taken well to Chad Morris's offense. He threw the ball well, and he did a good job of, deep shots, underneath shots, intermediate throws. I mean, he was hitting the majority of them. So it would make sense if Auburn really kind of wants to pick up the pace against Georgia and test what I think we can all agree is Georgia's, biggest asset, which is their defense as a whole.
Jordan, what's the talk on the Plains? I know that Gus Malzahn has brought his good friend in, Chad, and of course giving him the play calling responsibilities. But we know that Gus Malzahn's bread and butter has been his offensive play calling. He got him the head job at Auburn. Do you think that he's going to relinquish the play calling altogether for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm sure it probably depends on how smoothly things go. I mean, through this part of the year, which we've only got one game in the books, Gus has pretty much said all the right things about, look, this is Chad Morris's offense. I'm going to have input just like I would on defense and on special teams. So, from what we've seen so far, there really is no reason for Gus to have to kind of step in. Things are going well, it seems like, from everything we've heard. The transition's been smooth with Bo Nix, the receivers, the running back. So, I think that, understanding, and this was something, too, that Gus talked about earlier this week, is, when you give up the play calling, I mean, that is a lot of time that opens up to work on other things. It's a true commitment to be a head coach and also call your plays. There's really not that many guys that still do that. You got like Mike Leach in Mississippi State and Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, but for the most part, the head coaches kind of let, their assistants, they kind of delegate. They let those guys handle those things. So I think as long as things are smooth and are relatively smooth, because you're going to have hiccups through a long season, I can see Gus really trusting Chad Morris, because even though his tenure at Arkansas didn't go the way a lot of people thought it might, he's really got a background of being able to run these offenses and being someone that they can trust. So I could see Gus kind of, letting Chad do his thing and just, stepping in and maybe, giving recommendations here or there, but for the most part, letting it be Chad's offense.
In every Auburn season, you always look at the offense and the defensive line. From the defensive line perspective, I saw some consistency there, a little bit there, but the overpowering, I guess you can't replace a Marlon Davidson and a Derrick Brown, first of all. But the big cat Brian Peace, I think he set out last week because of an ankle injury. But it seems, though, is that they're pretty steady on the defensive line. But I really have question marks on the offensive line from the standpoint where they didn't run the ball a whole lot. Talk to me about both of the lines on the side of the ball.
I'll start on defense, and really, in my mind, the person to watch, and this has really been someone who I think one of the biggest keys on the entire Auburn defense is Big Cat Bryant that you mentioned. And I think he's going to kind of come into this game with a chip on his shoulder. He was banged up. He really didn't play that much against Kentucky with an ankle injury. But he's told the media earlier in the week he's good to go. He's going to play. And I think even if he wasn't 100%, he wants to be out here for this because he's from Georgia. We asked him about that, and he said, I'm always hearing it from family members, when Georgia does beat Auburn. And he talked to us, too, about almost being a Georgia commit. He said it came down to signing day, and he wound up going to Auburn in large part because of Rodney Garner, a guy that had been at Georgia for a real long time, like 15 years, and is now the defensive line coach at Auburn. So I think their D-line looks good, and I think it kind of comes down to how Big Cat can play, and that they're in good shape. The biggest question really is the offensive line. So debut, they kept Bo Nix upright. I think there might have been one sack against Kentucky. The biggest question that really we're still looking at for the second straight week is left tackle. They started Alec Jackson in that first game, and he did all right. There was a series where he had back-to-back false starts, so they put Austin Troxwell in. And that's two juniors who's got a little bit of experience, but nobody has really came out and won that left tackle job. And they made sure, too, which I think really, keys into how unusual this season could be because of coronavirus, that they played 7 different offensive linemen against Kentucky. And the biggest reason, not only is it because some of those spots are still up for grabs, but we could go into a week and some of these guys may be out. So they made sure to get some guys some in-game experience. But the position to really look at going into the Georgia game is left tackle. If Georgia is able to exploit that, if Auburn has trouble blocking on that side, it could be a really long day for Auburn.
We're talking the South's oldest rivalry. Auburn will be in Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. And, when you talk about this rivalry, it's almost like when you got a rock in your shoe, and it's just annoying there that rock is in your shoe. And I say that with some semblance to the fact that Georgia has gotten the better of Auburn here in the past several years. I know that's on the minds of the Auburn Tigers as well as Gus Malzahn.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think back to November 2017 and Auburn, like Malzahn said after the game, beat the dog crap out of Georgia. And then since then, it's been 3 wins in a row for Georgia. And I think I wrote about this a little bit earlier in the week, but it really seems like to me that this game being moved up in the year, it's usually in November. I think the fact that it's being played this early, is going to benefit and probably will benefit both teams going forward because, it's so hard to say, with any certainty who's going to win this game. But with the loss being in week 2 compared to like week 10, that's not a lot of leeway as far as trying to get back into the playoff picture, trying to get back and, trying to win your division in the SEC. So I think it benefits both sides, but it's a fun rivalry. It's been one I've always enjoyed growing up and watching, and it's been just as entertaining these last few years. And Auburn's got 33 players from the state of Georgia. Big Cat Bryant, like I was talking about a few minutes ago, being one of them. So I know it's a real important game for them, and they're going to look to try to break that streak that Georgia's got going.
If you're just joining us from the Auburn Opelika Auburn News, Jordan Hill is with us. He's the sports writer up there, the man with a plan for the Auburn Tigers, as well as we'll talk about a little high school football here in just a little bit. But I want to ask you this question. With the COVID-19 and so much of the pageantry of college football being taken away, I know that the live mascots have been eliminated. I know Uga won't be able to go, won't be at the games as well, and all of the tailgating and all of the things that you would think of with the marching bands and whatnot. Other than the fans, obviously limited numbers of fans in the stand. How has that affected you? I know in week 1 with you in Auburn and Kentucky, how has that played out in your mind, Jordan?
I think all things considered, from what I've seen, it went, relatively smoothly, with the students. I know that there were people in the stands making sure everybody was wearing their mask. And, I'm sure that there were probably some people that didn't kind of follow the plan as much as, the officials would have liked. But, what I saw was pretty smooth, very strange after the game. Usually we're racing down to the field to get to the locker or outside the locker room to interview Gus Malzahn and some of the players, and that's not happening this year. We're just kind of sitting up in the press box and getting into Zoom calls and talking to the players there. So it's definitely strange, and you're like, man, it shows you stuff that you kind of took for granted, like seeing the eagle fly or seeing Uga down on the sidelines. But it's just the nature of this year. I mean, it's an unusual year, and hopefully. Things will calm back down, and by the time we're playing football in 2021, we can say, hey, remember how weird that was? Like, we're back to normal now. But man, what an odd year.
Yeah, hey, Jordan, I was watching the Kentucky game last week, and they were talking about this player. His name slips me. Number 89, this 300-pound tight end that runs down on the kickoff coverage team. Talk to me about this guy. What's his name, and really they're really serious about playing this guy at fullback on the goal line situations, but he's really a good tight end.
Yeah. JJ, I might be saying his last name wrong, but I think it's Piguse, or I think that's how you say it, JJ Piguse. Yeah, he's a true freshman, 300-pound tight end. And what was pretty funny, he made a crucial block on one of, I think it might have been Auburn's first, to set up Auburn's first touchdown, I should say. They threw a screen out to Anthony Schwartz, and JJ got out there on the side and made a block, kind of sealed a block that let Schwartz run up and get tackled, I think about the 1-yard line. And if I'm remembering correctly, DJ Williams scored on like the next play or 2 plays later. And so he can move. He's a big old guy, and again, just a true freshman. So, one of the things that people have talked a lot about with Chad Morris coming in, and something Chad's talked about as well, is getting the tight ends more involved. Whether it be blocking or whether it be going out and running routes and catching balls. So JJ's got the size playing tight end that he may really be able to open up some holes. And I know people were excited coming out of that first game from what he was able to do, and excited to see what he's able to do going forward.
Jordan Hill with the Opelika Auburn News. Jordan, let's spend a little time talking high school football. There's a huge game here Friday night. The Auburn Tigers coming in to play the Central Red Devils. Talk to me about your thoughts and your preview.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm excited to go down there in Phoenix City again and go watch it. It seemed like kind of early in this year that Central seemed more susceptible than they'd ever been. They were 0-2 under new head coach Patrick Nix, but man, once they kind of got back in a rhythm, which I think was fair to see coming because there was so much of the offseason that was limited, but they've been rolling right along, and they're going to be playing an Auburn team that's still undefeated. That's looked really good. I mean, Auburn lost their defensive coordinator, Patrick Plott, in the offseason, but they've picked up right where they left off on defense. They're only giving up like 8 points a game. So to me, it's going to be a really good game. I think the key really, which has been for the last few years when Auburn has played Central, is the Auburn offense. They've got to be able to keep up. And, I think their defense may be able to stifle Central for a little while, but Auburn's got to be able to put points on the board. They've got some really talented guys. They got Matthew Caldwell at quarterback, and Bryson Clegg is a receiver who, honestly, is one of the most impressive receivers I've seen in this area. I mean, if they throw the ball in his area code, he's going to go up and get it. So they got talent, and I think that one of the Central's biggest issues this year has been their secondary. They've given up big plays. Auburn High's offense hasn't done a great job of running the ball. They've had a few different guys that have broke through, like Amari Hutchinson and J.T. Rogers, but it's not been a consistent thing throughout the year. So that would be big, but I think their passing game is going to be really crucial. And if they show up and are able to make some plays through the air on Central, this could be the first time in several years that Auburn walks away with a win, and really it would open the door for Auburn to win the region for the first time in 7 years.
Jordan, I got to go to the administrative side of these things. When Hoover and Central played this year, and, you got restrictions because of the COVID-19 regulations, and I'm wondering with this Auburn and Central game, they're going to have more than the people that they I think 2,000 tickets have been sold, and they split those tickets up. But I think I saw more than 2,000 the Hoover game.
Watch out now. Watch out.
You ain't got to tell, nobody ain't listening to us, George. You can tell me what's really going on with that, because I think really that's been a lax in that area, and really I think they've been relaxing that restriction a little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I wasn't at the Hoover game, so, it's kind of hard to say. But, the problem with kind of leaving this up to the school districts is, they're basically the judge and jury and, executioners on whatever plan they have in place. Because I've been at schools, I'll give Auburn High, for example, of a team in a school that's done a great job at their games. Limited capacity. Pretty much everyone I've seen in the stands is wearing a mask. And then I've been to other schools, and I'm not going to sit here and name schools, but that have not done a good job, where people are crowded and, people aren't wearing their mask. They wear a mask to get in the game, and as soon as they get in the stadium, they take it off. It's one of those things that you really run the risk if, say, you don't follow those guidelines, or you're kind of lax with enforcement in the stands. if there's a big breakout, one, you may not be able to have fans that next week, or, you could wind up getting some of your players sick. And, at the very, the health is the main concern, but, there's also, if somebody gets sick, you may be missing them for a few weeks. So it's one of those things that these school districts are risking if they, don't put in the proper protocol. And it's just one of those things that kudos to the schools that are taking it seriously and hoping more kind of follow suit with what's left of the year.
Jordan, if you would, can you categorically go down the list of teams in the region and some of the matchups and expound a little bit on how their season has been going?
Are you talking about with Central and Auburn or just our local teams?
Yeah, your local teams.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up off my handy dandy piece of paper.
Okay, and as you pull it up, obviously, the interest would be in Glenwood and of course Lynette and Lafayette, of course Beauregard, all the teams, Smith Station. Those are the teams that are in the region that I want to give their fan and their following a little idea of how things are going if they hadn't been following.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So we talked Auburn Central. Another big game this week in that same region is going to be Smith Station at home against Jeff Davis. This will be a really good chance for Smith Station to get a little winning streak. They beat Ben Russell last week in non-region play. I believe they're still looking for their first region win, and they got a really good shot against Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis has got a few athletes, but still lacking, and I think Smith Station should have the upper hand there. Other local teams, Valley is playing at home against Eufaula. That should be one of the better games this weekend. Eufaula is a really talented team and took Opelika to the wire until Opelika blocks a punt real late in that game. So that should be a good one over in Valley. Opelika should be hosting Russell County. I know Russell County just played their first game last week. So as far as I know, I think that game's still happening, and that's going to be a tough one for Russell County. Opelika's got some really good athletes, especially running back Eric Watts. He's one of the best running backs in the entire state, in my opinion. He's up there with the best, and he played really well last week against Central, so that might be rough for Russell County. And other than that, Beauregard's at Tallahassee. Glenwood is playing a non-region game at home against Monroe, and Lee Scott is hosting Bessemer Academy in another non-region game. So some important region games, and should be a fun night of Friday night football.
Jordan, before you go, any individuals that have stood out thus far here in the first several weeks of the season? Any individuals?
Yeah, I go with Joseph Mckay from Central's running back. I mean, he ran a 90-yard touchdown and a 61-yard touchdown last week against a really good Opelika defense. I mean, Patrick Nix, the head coach there at Central, was really talking him up, saying he felt like he was the best running back in the state, and it's hard to argue. He's done a really good job throughout the year, and even going back, he's been playing at Central since he was a freshman, and Central is loaded, so that really speaks highly of him. Mentioned Eric Watts, another guy that has really done a good job for Opelika. He's their bell cow. He makes a lot of plays. Been really impressive. Enjoyed watching him this year. Bryson Clegg, a receiver I mentioned there at Auburn High, he's done a good job. If the ball's anywhere in his vicinity, he's going to go get it. And then another guy, I'll go with one of the smaller schools, go over there to Lynette, defensive back Darius Zachary. I mean, he pretty much beat Lafayette by himself when they played a few weeks ago. Had a punt return touchdown, had a couple interceptions. A really talented guy. There were questions with Lynette if they'd be able to keep it up with Christian Story graduating and going to Alabama. But they've had a few hiccups, but because of guys like Darius Zachary, they've been chugging right along, and I think they got a good shot at really being competitive once we get in the playoffs in Class 2A.
His name is Jordan Hill, and he's from the Opelika Auburn News. Jordan, as always, man, we really appreciate all the knowledge and all the information, man.
Thank you, Jordan.
Absolutely. Thanks again, DJ and Dell, and just let me know. I'll come talk another time.
All right. Jordan Hill, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, great guy, man. Great guy to have on your team, and a great guy to keep us informed on what's happening as far as football in East Alabama. Go ahead and take another break. You are watching CTV Beam, and you're listening to WRCG 92.1. This is the Sports Visions Radio Show.
Welcome to Peaceful River Residential Services, where we care for your family like our family. Peaceful River is dedicated to creating an environment where we constantly exceed the expectations of our individuals. We strive to set the industry standard and be the provider of choice that meets the lifelong needs of your family. We are the caring provider whose respect for the individual's privacy and protecting their confidentiality is our top priority. We are the provider whose most valuable asset is you, our family. Call Peaceful Rivers today at 762-821-1476. Remember, at Peaceful River, we provide peace for your peace of mind.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like. I wish I could fix my lips to express how amazing that love truly is. And even though those words may flow beautifully through a melodic tune, there have been far too many unopened conversations to the address of the elephant that is getting comfortable in our living room when it comes to the topic of being black. A simple color that you see in a box of Crayola crayons, the asphalt where we plant our feet, from the cup of coffee that we wish to drink, or a simple arrow planted on a traffic sign that can lead us to our next destination. Yet every day I find it hard people appreciate this color on materialistic objects rather than the color attached to the pigmentation of human faces. Answer me this. When it comes to the American dream, is it based upon breaking metaphorical chains, securing a financial augmentation, a damsel in distress rescued by a hero answering her cry for hope? No. Because this country has given us more nightmares than dreams, especially wondering if our children will ever return home. As a black boy in this country, statistics have shown that our most anticipated moment is receiving a diploma at our high school graduation. But hearing our names across that stage doesn't compare to the words, "Son, it's time you and I have a conversation." To explain the nature of you asking, why did the kids look at me weird on the playground in the 3rd grade? Or why did Jeff and Amy say that they could no longer play with me? In a society built for your anxiety. A crippling nation we live in, and the frustration of being the ones playing the music's sad violins. Now, you're young. I know, and I once found myself in your shoes, 16 and free, where my soul had a right to choose what I wanted to achieve. "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Miss Parker asked. And as she was finishing up to the back of the class, I found myself throwing my right hand up to where it was evident. "The president. I want to be the president." As the class turned slow to me, I realized that no one wanted to address the elephant. That black boys can never be respected in that way. And while it sits back in 83, even today your generation isn't much more free than when I was your age. So son, before I let you have these keys, I must say something. Be cautious. Because even though you are a king, this world will look down on you as if they were better, making you feel like nothing. It'll make you want to scream, accusing you of stealing in the dressing room, asking the passive-aggressive, "May I help you look for anything? May I help you look for something?" And the stare you'll get from the cashier in the gas station when you're just looking for your favorite drink. Son, when you're on that road, think twice about speeding, not using your blinker, or making too long of eye contact with the stranger next to you at the red light. Because while it is your right to be on the road just as much as anyone else, the kids who are white don't have to fear for their lives by men who sit as killers in the skies. If you're pulled over, don't ever look at them directly in the eyes. Keep both hands on the wheel. And though you may feel disrespected, always stay respectful with a yes, sir. Because it's better for you to live and see tomorrow than to be another hashtag that'll occur. So as you lay your head on your pillow, remember this. Though this may be land of the free, the voices that came before you had a price to pay. And though black boy joy may cease, the fear of a black man shall never fade away. So in this country of peaceful protests, fallen angels, and all of the filmed violence, son, May you always hold your peace, but never hold your silence.
In Japan, they have something called Kobe beef. That's how we do it at Luke's Pub. 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 Y'all come out and see us.